Good morning, Mosaic. If we haven't met yet or before, my name is Carlos Pimentel. I'm a Puerto Rican who transported to LA 14 years ago. And me and my wife been married for 17 years. Woohoo! If you've been married for 17 years or more, you know how hard that is. And I have a photo. I feel like people do this all the time, and I want to show you a photo of my family because I'm very proud of them, of all of them. Do you have a photo of my kids? We do? No? That's me. Okay, if we have it later, we'll show it. It's okay. Beautiful kids. And before we dive into the conversation today, I just want, there you go. It's a beautiful photo of my family, Rio and my wife, Soti. You actually show my family? No, that's also Rio and my wife, Soti. And then all the kids. I don't have a favorite. I love them all the same. Before we dive into the conversation today, Cindy and Adan, they did a beautiful job today guiding us through this moment, talking about child dedication. But they also mentioned about the book from Pastor Erwin, who he wrote 20 years ago called The Barbarian Way. This book, it changed my life. About 15 years ago, I was on a plane on the way to Chicago, and I was so disconnected and so far from God. And I opened the first page in this book, and I felt like God spoke to me for the first time after a long time of not hearing from Him. I know that this book will change your life, and we're going to dive into this conversation for the next 3 weeks. If you don't like what I say today, you're fine. Come back next week. Pastor Erwin's going to come back, and he's going to fix it all, okay? I don't know what to do when people cry around me. I have boys. There's 3 boys, so there's a lot of energy in my house. And me and my parents, they're great parents, but they also didn't know what to do when I would get emotional. And to this day, like every time that someone cries around me, I get uncomfortable. The other day, we're here at the office, and I walk into our office, and Alisa Duran, our GM, also our OG, I walk into the office, and I see that she has a tear eye, and I was like, what should I do? I immediately closed the door and left the room. And I'm like, not me. I'm trying to teach my boys that it's okay to cry, when you feel emotions and feelings, like let it out. Like it's okay. So the other day I was listening to a worship song in the way to work, and the song really touched me. And I started crying, and I'm like, what should I do now? I'm crying. And I did what every Gen Z would do. I pulled out my phone, went to TikTok. I filmed myself crying. And I just want to have it as an evidence so that my kids in the future can go back to my to my page and see Daddy cries. He has emotions. He has feelings. There's a story in the Bible that I think is fascinating. I want to talk to you guys for a couple minutes about this idea. What do you do when your life is in ruins? When you find yourself in a moment where you just feel overwhelmed by life, where you feel like it's too much, like things keep coming your way, it feels too complicated. Maybe you're building something in your life and you feel like the things that you're building, they're just ruins. There's a moment in the scriptures, in the life of Nehemiah, chapter 2, verse 17, and it says, and I took the wine. Next verse, the 18. Okay, I'm going to read from my Bible here. It says, and then I took the wine and I gave it to the king. And I had not been sad in the presence of him before. So the king asked me, why does your face look so sad when you're not ill? This can be nothing but sadness of heart. It sounds sad. Sadness of heart. And he said, I was very afraid, but I said to the king, may the king live forever. Why should my face not look sad when the city where my ancestors lays is in ruins? Its gate has been destroyed by the fire. Nehemiah is having this conversation with the king. And to give you a little bit of the backstory, Nehemiah is working for the king, and it's a king who conquered the Israelites. The Israelites, they left their land, what was the promised land for them, and they moved into the exile. They left their town, and when the war started, they burned everything, destroyed everything, and now the Israelites, they find themselves living under another leadership. And Nehemiah, who is a Jew, now is working for the king. The king who took everything from him. And Nehemiah has a very simple job. He is what is the word? I got it, it's here. He's the cupbearer. His job is to bring the wine to the king. And it sounds like a very simple job, but the reality is that it's a job that they will only give it to people that they trust, people that they see, there's young people that they will see potential, but the job was risky. The only thing that they needed to do was to test the wine to make sure that the king wouldn't die. A very simple and terrible job to have. And he says that the king, when he's singing, he noticed that Nehemiah's crying. He's sad. He noticed that he's overwhelmed, that there is something in his heart. Nehemiah is caring. He's consumed by the fact that the place that he was from was in ruin. It was destroyed. And somehow he convinces the king that what he cared about now is important also for the king. They keep having a conversation, and the king says, okay, what do you want to do about this? What do you want to do about the thing that makes you sad, the thing that makes you uncomfortable? And he said, what I want to do, I want to go back to my land and I want to rebuild it. I want to start over again. I want to go to the ruins and I want to build something from scratch. And the king gave him the green light. If you want to get out of being a season or a moment in your life where you might feel that you're in the ruin, I think that the first thing that you have to do is that you have to be able to see it. You have to be able to have a vision. I love the fact that Nehemiah, he makes the king, he gives the king a vision that he didn't have. And I think that what we do quite often in our own lives is that you might have a vision for your own life, but you're expecting someone else to provide you that vision. Like you go to your parents, you go to your mom, you go to your dad, for the young people sitting in the front, our youth. You go to a college, you call your pastor, you call your leader, you call your boss, and you ask, hey, what do you think I should be doing? Is there something that I want you to know and to hear this morning? Is that no one else is responsible for the vision of your life other than you. Not even God. You are the only person responsible for whatever vision you have of a better you, of a better plan, of a better future, of a better job, of a better relationship. You are the only one in charge of carrying that vision. You with me? When I think about even being in this building right now, and the history of Mosaic, and a lot of you guys who've been part of Mosaic for over 20 or 30 years, when Pastor Erwin and his family moved to this city to plant Mosaic here, no one told Pastor Erwin, hey, you should go there. No one gave him a check and said, like, hey, go plant a church in LA in this incredible, beautiful, easy place to build a church. He had a vision. And that vision carried him and his family to plan and to build this place that you and I are sitting today. No one else gave him the vision. He brought the vision to life. And I think we wait and we spend too much time waiting for people to save us, to take us from something, to release us from something, when it is your responsibility to find the vision. The second thing that I love about this story, it says in verse 17, after the king allows him to go and go start rebuilding, he says on his way he found his people. And in verse 17, it says, then I said to them, talking to the Jew now, he said, you see the trouble that we're in. Jerusalem is in ruins, and its gates have been buried with fire. Come let us rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace. And I also told them about the gracious hand of my God on me and what the king has said to me. And listen to this. I love this line right here. It said, they replied, let us start rebuilding. So they began the good work. Let us start rebuilding. So they began the good work. If you're in a season of your life where you feel like you're having to rebuild, to start something from the bottom, to re-engage, to have a better vision of yourself, it's not enough to have a vision. It's not enough to see it. If you just see things, you're going to be paralyzed the rest of your life. It's not just about seeing something. You also have to build something. You build something. I love that he gets the support of the king, and now he's talking to his people, to his friends, to the Jews that maybe had they were carrying the same burdens, and he tells them, we're going to rebuild, and the response is like, yes, we're in. We're going to start the good work. I work in construction, and don't judge me because I'm Latino. Not all Latinos, they do construction, but I did construction. And if you ever done construction, you know it is a hard work, right? It is a physical job. You pay, you feel it in your body. You're tired most of the time. It takes a lot from you. I remember growing up with my grandpa, who also was a pastor. I come from a family of pastors. That's I think a rare thing, but I'm like a fourth generation pastor. My dad, Jose, was a pastor. My grandpa, Jose, was a pastor. Mi abuelo, also Jose, was a pastor too. My dad asked me, this is not related to a talk. My dad asked me, you should name your son Jose. And I said, absolutely not, Dad. That ain't happening. We're not going to call him Jose. So I remember being with my grandpa. He was building his church. And for about 10 years, I would go with him almost every weekend. And he would drive the church van. It was a 15-passenger van. And he would let me sit in the back. And he wouldn't ask us to put our seatbelts or anything. It was so fun and so dangerous. We would go in Puerto Rico in these little hills. And I remember me jumping and hitting my head against the ceiling. And we would get to the construction site. And weekend after weekend, we would show up there. And I would be with my grandpa, doing the hard work of building this temple, building this church. And when I think about the memories from those moments, I actually don't remember the fact that it was hard. What I do remember is sitting with my grandpa after, him sitting in a couch and putting unboxing, and my grandma giving him his dinner, and he will have a smile on his face. Like, I can tell that grandpa, my abuelo, was proud of the work that he was doing. And I love that when Nehemiah talks about building, he calls it the good work. And I just wonder if you're here this morning and you find yourself in a moment where life feels difficult, where it feels hard to build, feels hard to rebuild, and you're putting the work and you feel it in your spirit, you feel it in your body, you feel it in your emotions, and you feel like, I'm carrying something really hard. But I want you to hear what Nehemiah is saying, that hard work that you might be carrying in this moment, that same hard work is the good work of building. It's the good work of rebuilding something. Building something has less to do with a physical building. It has a lot more to do with the character that you might be building in your own personal life. Nehemiah wasn't just fixing the walls or fixing the city. He was giving the people of Israelites, he was giving them a chance to have trust again. He was giving them their confidence back. He was showing them that you can trust God even when things feel broken. It was not just the fact that they were building something physical. It was what was being built inside of them through that process. And I think a lot of time we don't realize that this part of building and working hard to rebuild something, it is a holy place. Rebuilding and becoming the person that God wants you to become, it is a holy place. It is a place that deserves reverence. So when you look back at your life, you can look at the moments where life felt difficult and it felt hard, and you can look at those moments and see where you used to be. The person that you used to be, how God rescued you, how He gave you a new purpose, how He gave you new life and new love. Building is hard work. But hard work is good. When I think about Mosaic and where we've been for the last year, my goodness, what a year. Starting in January with the fires in LA. We have plans, last year we had plans as a team. We wanted to do a lot of great things, and we were so excited for this year. And then January 4th, I think it was, on my birthday, our city gets on fire, and it completely changed our plans for the year. And in the middle of all those fires, we find out that our building was being sold in Hollywood. Our city is going through so much. It's not just as a church. Our city is going through so much. I'm going through a lot in my life. But I don't know about you, I'm excited about the idea that we get to be the people who decide what type of city or what type of church we want to have in the future. Yeah. Building is about the future. It's about being able to see the vision that Nehemiah saw, that the ruins that he was seeing in that moment, they were not just ruins, they were a future city that was about to be established. I'm excited to rebuild something for my family, for my kids, for you guys. You don't build for today, you build for the future. You with me? Yeah. Yes? Okay. You can clap. Thank you. This story keeps evolving, and if you haven't read this whole book of Nehemiah, I really encourage you to read it at home, because I think it has a lot of great leadership principle that if you apply them to your life, I think they'll be transformative. There are three things happening. First, he talks to the king. He gets the vision. The second thing, he talks to his people. And now they're like, we're for you. We're going to rebuild this place. And the third thing that happens is that also his enemies, they hear about what he's building. They hear about the rebuild of the walls. And now all the enemies are so upset at him. They're mad at him. They start letting him know, hey, we're coming for you. I know that you're trying to build these walls again, but we're going to come back and destroy them. It says in Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 7, it said that when Sanballat, Tobiah, and the Arabs, the Ammonites, and the people of Ashdod heard that the repairs of Jerusalem walls has gone ahead and that the gaps were being closed, they were very angry. And they all plotted together to come and fight against Jerusalem, and they stirred up trouble against it. But we prayed to our God and posted our guards day and night to meet this threat. Meanwhile, the people in Judea said, the strength of the laborers is giving out, and there is so much rubble that we cannot rebuild the wall. And also our enemies said, before they know it or see us, we will be right there among them, and we will kill them and put an end to their work. And that's not the end. Verse 12, then the Jews who lived near them came and they told us 10 times over, whenever you turn, they will attack us. So many bad news. He's trying to rebuild something good. He's trying to do something good with his life, not just with his life. He's trying to do something good for the people of Jerusalem. And when I hear all the backlash, it makes me think on Twitter and TikTok. Have you seen the comment section on anything? On Instagram? There's so much hate. This is like a Bible version of TikTok. Everyone is telling them, hey, what you're doing is wrong. It's going to break. It's going to fall down. We're coming for you. We don't like it. It's so bad. That idea of that better life that you have is not a good idea. You're going to fail. Your dreams are too big. Don't go after them. That idea of a better family, that idea of a better relationship, we're coming for you. We're going to destroy them. And it makes me think, I just wonder if we're expecting life to be easy. If you're expecting things to just go the way that you want just because you decided one day to have a vision. Life is hard. There are going to be people who are going to fight the progress that you're trying to gain in your life. And I think the way that we do this, or the way that we think about this quite often in our life, is that we say, oh, if this vision is from God, God will open the doors. He will do it. Or if God doesn't want this to happen, He will close the door. Or we say, si Dios quiere. If God wants, it will happen. God gave Nehemiah a clear vision of rebuilding a city, and he was faced with so much resistance. Are you expecting life? Are you expecting the things that you want to accomplish in your life to not face challenge, to not face resistance? And I think this is, when I was thinking about this is the framework of the challenge that I want to give you this morning. I want you to expect in your life for God to show up. To have an expectation that God want to be there for you. That He's fighting for you. That He cares about you. That He has planned for you. But I also want you to plan for opposition. Whatever you're trying to accomplish in your life right now, plan for things to not go the way that you want. Plan for someone to not believe in you. Maybe your mom. Maybe your wife. It might take some work to convince other people, to let them know that yes, like even that I'm feeling this resistance, I want to keep moving forward. The verse continues to say, Nehemiah 4:13, he said, therefore, this was his strategy to fight all the resistance that was coming their way. He said, therefore, I stationed some of the people behind the lowest points of the wall at the exposed places, posting them by families with the swords, spears, and bows. I love this verse really quick. I love this part because the strategy of Nehemiah, when he saw that people were in trouble, he noticed that some areas of the building, of the walls, were more exposed than others. And to me, this is an example of what community looks like, of what church looks like, of what it looks like to have people in your life that cares for you. There might be moments in your life where you might be struggling, where you might be going through hard times. It's so good to have friends and people who are next to you, who are willing to stand in your favor, to fight for you when you're in a moment that you feel vulnerable, in a moment that you feel down, in a moment that you feel you don't have everything that it takes for the life that you desire. It's really good to have people who are standing with you. Verse 14, it said, and after I looked things over, I stood up and I said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord who is great and awesome, and He fight for your families, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your homes. And when I hear this, I love the idea that there's a God who's fighting for your family, for my kids, for my wife, for the future that I'm building. It's not just me. God is watching over the things that we're building. I don't know about you. If this is for someone here this morning, if you're a parent, if you're a grandparent, God is watching over our families, over the things that we're building. And from that day on, half of my men did the work, while the other half were equipped with spears, shields, bows, and armor, and the officers posted themselves behind all the people of Judea, the people who were building the wall. And this is what I want to finish with today. And those who carry materials, they did the work with one hand, and they held the weapon in the other hand. If you're in a season or a moment of your life where you're having to fight through hard things, through ruins, you first need a vision. The second thing that you need is that you need to build it. The third thing that you need is that you need to fight for it. You got to find that thing in your life that you really care about, that thing that you really love about. And it's not just about building, but it's also about fighting. And I think it's such an interesting picture. I think it's a little weird. He's asking that to, in one hand, hold the tools to build, and then on the other hand, he have to carry the weapon. I don't know about you, but for me, that feels inefficient. It doesn't feel practical. It feels like a little bit like a stupid idea. Nehemiah, what are you thinking? You're a genius, bro. Like if you want to try to build something and you cannot use both hands, it's going to make the work slower. I think it would have made more sense if we have split the team and go, you guys build and you guys be ready for army. Be ready to fight. But what he said, I want you to be prepared for both. And follow me here because I think this is important. I think that some of us, the reason why I said to have both things in your hands is because some of us, we're very good at building, creating, establishing things, staying consistent, working hard. We're good at that part. But we're not good at protecting things. We might be building our walls and our house and we don't realize that the back door is open and we're keeping our families and our life vulnerable and open to things that shouldn't come inside our lives. And some of us, on the other hand, we're really good at fighting. Raise your hand if you're really good at fighting. That's me. Come on. Woo! Let's go, fighters. And the problem is that if you're only good at fighting, you might find yourself constantly fighting for the wrong things and picking fights that you shouldn't fight for, or getting in trouble for things that you shouldn't be in, or not building anything that lasts because you're burning things to the ground over and over again. He's saying, I want you to do both. In one hand, you hold the tools to build, and in the other hand, you hold the things that you need to fight, to protect the things that you love. We were moving apartments, and my wife called me crying, and she said the manager of our apartment was mean to me. And the moment that she said that, I got really upset. I got in my car, I drove to my house, and as I'm driving home, I'm thinking to myself, what am I gonna do? I don't know this guy. This guy might be really strong, and I'm not that strong. But I'm like, I gotta do something. So I had a plan, and I got to their apartment. I went to find the guy, and I went to him, and I said, don't ever talk to my wife like that, ever again. And he looked at me and he said, or what? And I just turned around, went back to our apartment. That was all the plan that I had. But I knew I got it. I had to do something. And now that I have, I'm protecting. I love to protect my wife. I feel the duty to be her protector. And the same thing with my kids. Leon, who's 8, he told me the other day that there's a kid in school that has pushing him to the ground twice. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? What's happening? And I did what every parent would do. I sent an email to the school. I did tell the teacher, I said, we as a family, we're committed to teach our children to be responsible, to be kind, to be generous, that every time that someone does something bad to them, to always think about why they're doing it, what's happening at home, why is he bringing trouble. But I also told them, don't expect him to respond the same way that he responded the other 2 ways, because we also want him to be strong kids. It makes me wonder, are we fighting for the right things? Are you fighting for the right things in your life? Maybe is it just me that I feel like God has put the responsibility of protecting, of building something that lasts, not just to build it, but to fight for it. And I was like, maybe it's that I'm too intense. But then I started reading the Bible, and I'm like, okay, God, like, is it just me, or like, I don't know. James 1 verse 2, it says, consider pure joy when you're in trials. If you want to find things to fight for, when you're in trials, the scriptures encourage you and I to fight for joy. It says in 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 5, it says, we take captive every thought to make it obedience to Christ. You want something to fight for? You got to fight for your mind. You got to fight for your emotions. You got to fight for your thoughts. Psalms 34:14, it says, turn from evil and do good and seek peace and pursue it. Pursue peace. You want something to fight for? You got to fight for peace. You got to fight for peace in your household. You got to fight for peace, for your own internal peace. These things, they just don't come to you and they stay just because you want them. You can be building your whole life, but if you're not fighting for this thing, you're always going to be lacking something. John 13 verse 34, it says, and a new command I give you, it's a command I order you. It's Jesus saying, love one another. You fight for love. You can't stay passive about it. If you're married, you know this. If you're in a relationship, you know that you cannot stay waiting for things to happen. You have to fight for the things that you love. You have to fight for the better version of yourself. That's how you rebuild something. You build, you fight. You build, you fight. You build, you fight. You build, you fight. That is the call that God is inviting us to step into. And maybe you ask yourself this morning, where is God in all of this? Because to me, this talk is all about assuming personal responsibility for the things that you got to do in your life. Where is God in all of this? I love that God showed up in the life of Nehemiah every time that he moved in courage. Every time that he acted in courage, God showed up for him. And I just wonder for you in your life, what's happening, what's going on in your life, and what's keeping you for taking the steps that you got to take for the life that you desire, for the dreams that you desire. What's keeping you from moving you in courage, acting in courage? And this is what Jesus did. He stepped into our story to fight for you. You were worth the battle. He went through hell. He went through so much pain so that you could have a better life, so that you could be completely loved by Him. And this morning, I want to give you an opportunity to say yes to Jesus. And if you can help me just for a moment, if you can close your eyes. Wherever you're in this room or watching online or in our campuses in Studio City or Culver City or wherever you are in this moment, I just want to give you a chance to respond to Jesus, to say yes to Him. Jesus came and He stepped into our story. He was put in a cross and He died for our sin, for our imperfection, and He closed the gap between humanity and Him so that we can have an amazing life, not when we die, right now in this moment. And He's here offering that to you right now, fighting for you. And if you're here and you haven't made that decision, you haven't given fully your all to Jesus, I want to give you a chance to respond. And it's super simple. You just got to say these words: Jesus, I give you my life. That's it. Simple. Jesus, I give you my life. Jesus, I give you my life. And if you made that prayer, I would love if you can raise your hand, because I want to pray for you. Beautiful. Beautiful. Anyone else? Jesus, I give you my life. Keep your hand up with every ounce of courage that you have in this moment. This is between you and God. Jesus, I give you my life. Anyone else? Beautiful. God, I pray in this moment for every courageous man and woman who have chosen to trust you with their life. God, I pray that you would wrap them up in your love, that you would let them know how much you care about them, how much you see them, that you're standing in this moment with them, that they were worth your life. And God, I pray for all of us as a community, as we step into the season, into the rest of this year. God, I pray that you will give us the vision. You will give us the eyes, that we will be the people like Nehemiah, that we're willing to step into what's broken, into the ruins, and that we would do the hard work, the beautiful work, the good work of rebuilding a better future that doesn't exist yet, God. And God, I pray that you will give us the courage as a community to fight for the things that they matter to you, the things that you care about, God. Allow us as a church to be aligned with your vision of a better city, of a better world. We love you, Jesus. And in your name we pray. Amen and amen.
Thank you so much, Pastor Carlos, for this beautiful word. Are you ready to fight for peace? I know God is moving here, and He's moving in your hearts. And there's a beautiful verse in Romans 10:9. That I just want to share with you, and I know you've heard it before. It says, give me 1 second, if you declare with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. And if you raise your hand today, let me tell you, this is the most important decision that you will ever make. Congratulations for that. Welcome to the family. But your faith journey it will not define only for this moment. It will be defined with the next steps that you take after today. And we want to walk with you that journey. We want to help you through it. And in the back of the theater, in the lobby, there's an area called Next Step. And you can go there, and actually there's beautiful people over there in the back holding a Bible. We want to give you a copy of the scriptures to equip you and to encourage you to walk in your walk with Jesus. It's going to be a beautiful journey, and you're not alone in this journey. And well, today has been a beautiful Sunday, right? It's been so beautiful, and let's give it up for all the families and all the kids dedicated. And just before we leave, don't forget, if you want to be part of, don't miss anything that's happening at Mosaic, you can go to mosaic.org/SP, or you can scan the QR code in front of your chairs. There's so many amazing things happening in the following weeks. We have an event for women, November 8th. We have things happening for kids, fall hangs. We have things happening for youth, for men. So don't miss out. Be part of this. It's going to be so amazing. And also on your way out, you can grab a copy of the Rebellion to be prepared for the series that starts next week. And if you brought your offering in cash or check, remember to grab that envelope and deposit on the giving boxes in the back. And if I just talked so much and you forgot everything I said, just keep coming. We want to see you again next Sunday, okay? Have a great Sunday, family. I will see you later.